Very good evening, everyone. So let's begin with our presentation session. Those who wants to give presentation, please raise your hands. We will go in that sequence only. Okay, so first we have Anirudh. Anirudh, you can start your presentation. Anirudh, are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, your screen is visible. You can turn on your camera as well. Yeah.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. So my topic assigned for this weekend is implementing using user authentication for my fitness
Actually, I cannot hear you.
company, ma'am.
Sorry, I guess there is some network issue. Are you? Oh, wait for 2 minutes. If you are able to listen me, am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Then fine, you can go ahead.
So the project setup will be we will be requiring a Visual Studio Code for doing the project. Then we need to install Node.js for it to work on it. So to create a project, we use the initial command npm init while to install all the major requirements. Then we need to set up project files according to our requirements. Then we will be installing multiple dependencies depending upon our requirement. Then it's our code implementation. For the front end part, we are using HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. For the back end, we are using Node.js. And for the dependencies for the authentication, we are using Passport.js. So continue with my uh, implementation part. So this is the code for it. And these are the project files. Yeah. Is my VS Code setup visible?
Yes, yes, your code is visible.
Okay. Okay, these are the dependencies which we are going to use in our project. In our the From the start, we are using Express.js as the framework for the Node.js application. We are using bcrypt as the encryption algorithm for the storage of the passwords from the user database input, and we are using Passport.js, the authentication framework. We are using Express Flash as a error displaying mode for the error requests, and we are using Express Session for the Express. Sorry, we're using Express Session for the session management. So here I'm storing the input data in an array for now. So these are the code for the session variables. So app.use basically tells the code to use the Express framework from which is stored here in app. So app.use is a function for using multiple components. So here in session, we are using the passport JS framework. So here the secret is an secret key which we store in the .env file. We can store it in as we require. Then for every state in the submission in the web page, uh, reload mode, we kept it at false. Then we initialize a passport and we initialize the session. So these are the post methods used in Express. When the login page is viewed by the user, the authentication will be checked if present or not. And if the authentication is right, it goes to the home page. If the authentication fails, then he will be redirected and still be in the login page. So this is the configuration register for the user. So here we input the username, mail, and password from the user, and we create an ID, name, email, and the password is hashed by the bcrypt algorithm from the dependency. And next, these are the roots which use the middleware uh, from home root is basically index.ejs, and the login page and the register page and the logout option. So these are the authentication functions which I used, and it's used to check if the user is authenticated or not. So these are the project dependencies which are needed to be installed. I will move on to the we start our project by running npm dev start, which I initialized in the project script as the nodemon. So here nodemon is the server which automatically resets it when the user saves any entry. Here, this is the login page where the user enters. So for checking if the user exists in the database or not, we need to test it. So if we click here, sign in, there is a error prompt which tells the no user with the email. Then we need to go to register. Then we can give any name as per requirement and any email ID with password. Then we need to submit. So here the data we have submitted has been recorded in the array, naming with ID, name, email, and password. Here the password is encrypted and the username and email are stored. Then if we try to log in with the username and password, it successfully log into the application. Here we have also a logout feature which enables go to the home login page as per the quest. And so here various methods are being used for creating and using the frameworks. So the main points here are demonstration of authentication. Here the authentication is demonstrated by using the login sign up and portal and by using passport.js. Here you bcrypt is used for encryption for storing the hashed passwords. Then use of session management is by using Express session and Express framework. Then use of authentication middleware by using Express.js. So here in conclusion, the key takeaways are the usage of Express.js and the encryption, passport.js for the middleware, and sessions. These are the references which I took it from. Oh, thank you. And there any questions?
Okay, so Anirudh, are you done with your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so will you please tell me that in starting you explained that for what purpose you are making this authentication? Because of network issue, I missed that part.
Yeah, basically for a application called MyFitnessPal, which enables us to log in our fitness and dietary requirements.
Okay, so for that purpose, you made this authentication. Okay, by the way, your design and your styling was quite good. Okay, if I give any wrong format of email or password less than 8 characters, so will it give any error? Means warning message. Please, if you have done it, then show it.
So actually, I didn't set basically any type of mail format. I set it, not exactly a Gmail one. Then password, just I used an encryption. Did not kept any minimum requirements.
Okay, means you did not put that some like nuances type like if user give less than 8 characters or it does not fulfill the requirement of password, like it should have small letters, capital letters and digits or special letters, then it won't give any error message if any one of them is missing.
Not yet. I implement in further stages.
Oh yeah, sure. You can put like if else conditions and use all these cases. So that will make your authentication part more strong. Okay. Okay, so rest your presentation and demonstration was quite good, and I will provide you scores and feedback on your email. From your side, any question you want to ask, you can.
Not no questions, ma'am.
Okay, so you can leave.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. So guys, you have not raised your hands. How I will pick up next one? Those who are ready, please raise. Yeah, Pushpak, you can start your presentation.
Yes, is my screen visible?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Yes. So good evening, everyone. I'm Pushpak Suryawanshi from Machine Learning and Deep Learning Group, and today I'm going to present my presentation on the topic overview of project synopsis. And in that, I'm going to predict the stock market analysis using machine learning algorithms. So coming to the introduction part. So nowadays we can see that machine learning models are used for predicting stock market prices, and which makes it a very useful tool for predicting the stock prices. So in this presentation, we'll explore the latest advancements in this field and the potential impact of machine learning on the finance industry, and how it can change the trend of predicting stock prices in a positive way. So first of all, let us see that what is machine learning. Before that, let us take a brief overview of what is stock market. So stock market basically is a marketplace which and in which with one individual can buy and sell the stocks of various companies and earn profits. So it can be considered as a passive income for many users, and it can provide huge benefits to consumers who are investing their money into these stocks. And what is machine learning? So machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence that involves training algorithms to make predictions based on data. So basically, what machine learning is that it in simplest words is it is like training computer based on certain examples. Means let us take an example that we have to explain a concept to a friend, and if our that friend doesn't for example that friend doesn't has no idea of what are fruits, and what are fruits means that friend has no idea of what is mango, what is orange, what is apple, etc. So we are teaching him that this is apple, this is mango, and this is banana, etc. So we provide that friend a lot of examples instead of providing him specific rules that this is the red color apple, so call it that fruit as apple. We do not do like that. We provide a lot of examples to that friend, and from that examples the friend learns on its own and can recognize the fruits very easily. So similar way we are teaching computer with a lot of data, and from data the computer learns from its own and helps us to predict the outcomes. And the computer also from that examples learns from different examples, and it can recognize the new data which has been fed into the system. So this was basically an overview of the machine learning. So traditionally, the stock market prices were relied on stock market forecasting relied on two methods, that is technical analysis and fundamental analysis. So example of technical analysis can be that if we have a stock price data of certain period of time, let us say 6 months or 1 year. So what technical analysis method in technical analysis, there was one method which was called as moving average method. So in that method, what we do is we take an average of previous few records and assign that average into the new record. So that is called the moving average method, which we assign the average to the new value. And the second method is fundamental analysis. So in fundamental analysis, what we do is if we take the knowledge of the stock. So if the stock, if the present stock is example, we can say Google. So while checking the stock prices of Google, so what we do is if we have to check the present, we have to predict the future stock prices of Google. So what we do is we gather what are the important advancements in the Google which have made. If they have if they have done a new deal with the major companies, then the stock prices will be high. If they have incurred a major loss, then the stock prices will be low, and so on. So this is a method of fundamental analysis. So these methods were used in the past market trends and financial data to predict the future performance. So however, they are very limited, as they can be used to predict only the prices of the few future days or future days to months, and it cannot be used to predict a long term stock prices. So use of machine learning can be very useful to predict such stock prices. So we'll see later how we'll use machine learning into predicting the stock prices. So machine learning in stock market analysis. So machine learning models can analyze vast amounts of data, as we have seen from the example, and identify patterns from that data, and these patterns will be very useful for predicting the stock prices. So by training algorithms on the historical market data, these models can make predictions about future performance and with greater accuracy and speed than traditional methods like technical analysis and fundamental analysis. So types of machine learning. So there are basically 3 types of machine learning. There are supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So each method is used according to its own requirements. And in this case, we have used supervised learning here. So what is supervised learning? So supervised learning is basically involves training the model on the labeled data. Means if we have a set of data, the model correctly knows that what we have to predict and what we have to not predict. So a knowledge of what we have to predict and means the dependent variable. The value which we have to predict is called as dependent variable, and the value is not which we use to predict that dependent variable is known as independent variable. So supervised learning what is knows exactly what is the dependent variable and what we have to predict other than and what is independent variable. So supervised learning involves machine learning algorithms like decision tree, random forest, linear regression, logistic regression, etc. So we'll use supervised learning here. So unsupervised learning involves training a model on unlabeled data. So in unlabeled data, the data is random, means there are no there are there are no indications what is the dependent variable and what is not the independent variable. So the model has to find patterns in the data and that and know that, and it has to find that what is the dependent variable that we have to predict and what we have to take which features we have to take help from to predict that a variable. So in supervised learning, the data is not labeled, means the variables which we have to predict is not known before. The model has to learn on its own and predict its own value and take and consider any one column according to the best situations. So unsupervised learning includes association algorithms like and clustering algorithms such as k-means clustering, association means a priori algorithms, which are based on a recommendation system, which are very helpful in recommending songs on Spotify, such as. So in that, it is recommending songs on Spotify is an example of association algorithm. And in associations, specifically, a priori algorithm is based on that recommendation systems. So next is the next type of machine learning is reinforcement learning. So in reinforcement learning, it involves training the model to make decisions based on rewards and penalty. So imagine, for example, we have to train a computer to play a video game. So while playing a video game, that the computer does not know which steps to take, whether it is good for our reward or whether it is bad, what is winning and what is losing. So reinforcement learning involves training the model based on the reward procedure. Means if a computer performs a step, so if it is a good step, we will reward that computer. If it is a bad step, we will decrease the points of that computer, and from that the computer learns on its own, and it optimizes its performance, and it increases the accuracy of how the it plays the game. Example of reinforcement learning can be self-driving cars, which is used in Tesla, and in the self-driving cars, what happens is the algorithm embedded in the system of the car detects what is the length of the road, what is the breadth of the road, what is the traffic, and accordingly it makes decisions that in what speed must the car proceed and where to take breaks and so on. So challenges of machine learning in finance industry. So there are mainly three challenges of machine learning in finance industry, that are data quality, model interpretability, and ethical consideration. So data quality. So for training data onto machine learning models, so these machine learning models rely on high quality data. Means maintaining the quality means ensuring the data is complete, or ensuring the data is valid, is very important for a machine learning model to function very accurately. But financial data can be complex and difficult to obtain, because we cannot completely get the stock prices of continuously years and months to years. There can be some places where the stock market are stock market on that on a few days is not active, means if there's a holiday, or if there is a global calamity such as COVID-19, the stock prices are not present on that particular days. So in that place, the data can show error, or it can be incomplete. So in that case, the model finds it very difficult to consider such data, and it can reduce the accuracy, and the predictions may contain many errors which can make the model unreliable. So it is very important to ensure the data quality for training the machine learning models. So second is the model interpretability. So machine learning models can be difficult to interpret, which can make it challenging to understand how they are making predictions. This can be concerned in finance, where transparency is important for building trust and making informed decisions. So for example, if a machine learning model, if a task given to machine learning model is that it has to predict whether to it has to predict whether a particular person must approve a loan or not. So if the task given to machine learning model, it is to approve a customer of a specific loan, personal loan or car loan, insurance or not. So if a machine learning models takes a decision, particular decisions for a specific consumer, that this particular consumer can take the loan, so it does not explain why it took a particular decision, but it only describes that what the decision it has made. It does not describe that what, how, and why it has made a particular decision. So it does not interpret the results to the result. It does not, basically it does not explain the result. So model interpretability is a major issue in considering machine learning models in this finance industry. So next is ethical considerations. So in ethical consideration, machine learning models can also perpetuate biases and discriminations if they are trained on biased data. And it is important to consider ethical implications when developing and deploying these models in finance. So for example, we have trained a machine learning models and a job, we have trained machine learning models on only female candidates, and the task of machine learning model is to approve a specific candidate on basis on their interview. So there are many candidates which include male candidates and female candidates, and the job of machine learning models is to approve their interview on the basis of their performance. But the machine learning models which we have used here, which we have, for example, we consider here, we use these machine learning models which has only trained on the female candidates. So when male and female candidates both sit for the interview, it only consider the female candidates, and it only shows results for the female candidates, and it rejects male candidates even though their performance is better than the female candidates. So this type of machine learning model is called biased machine learning models, which is biased on a particular group of candidates. And it is very important to ensure the machine learning model is not biased on certain data, and which can make the model very unreliable. So these are the stages of the project. First, we gather the data, then we clean the data, then we do the exploratory data analysis, then we build the machine learning model, and finally we do the model evaluation. So we'll see this task individually in detail. So first step is the data gathering. So it is the first step in predictive modeling. So it involves collecting relevant data from various sources such as databases, APIs, surveys, Excel files, or government websites, etc. So ensuring quality of the data is an important task here. So these are the three challenges: data volume, data variety, and data velocity. So data volume consists of that the data can be of huge volume. It can be of gigabytes and megabytes. So it is important to ensure that the volume of data is low. But if the volume is of data is high, then the model can take a huge time to process, and it can be possible, but it will take huge time to process. And the second is data variety, that the data is available in lots of forms, such as it is available on audio files, video files, images, etc. So to process such kind of data is a challenging task. Third is the data velocity. So the speed at which data is produced nowadays is and for and thus and thus according to the speed, we have to also make predictions based on a certain speed. So to maintain the speed and to make real-time decisions is a challenging task. So we have to ensure these three things: that the volume of the data should be very low, the very low, less, so that the machine learning algorithms can process the data very quickly. Secondly, we have to ensure that the variety of the data is not in many forms, and it is based on only one forms, whether it is a textual data or images or video files. And third is that we have to ensure that the our machine learning models copes up with the speed of the data at which it is produced. So we'll see in the code that how we have implemented this particular step. So here in data gathering phase, this is the data gathering phase. We have used a CSV file here. So before that, let's have a look at the data set. So here we can see that this is the stock market analysis data. So here is the date. Each and every date is mentioned here. It is the then is the open price. Open price means the price of the stock data at the starting of the day. High means that highest price during that day. Low means that lowest price of the stock during that day. Close price means that at what price it ends at the end of the day. And volume means the number of shares the people have traded for that particular stock. And name means the name of the stock. So here AAL means the Apple stock, basically. Similarly, there are other stocks, but the volume of data here is very high. So we reduce, for simplicity, we take only the Apple data for to reduce the volume, and so the machine learning models can process the data very quickly and give us accurate results. So let us see that how we have imported this data set. So we have used the pandas read CSV function. From that, we have imported the data set. So this is the overview of the data set, which contains almost 1200 rows, more than 1200 rows, and which consists of 7 columns. So we have used a head function to get an overview of the first 5 rows of the data set. So we have used here .info function to see that what is the data type of the particular column. So we can see here open, high, low, and close are float integer types, which is a good thing. Then we have used here describe function to gain a statistical overview of the data set. So we can see you see here the mean open value is 38 and 38, then high is 38, low is so 37, and close is 38, and volume is almost 9 into 10 raised to 6. So this is the mean standard deviation. Minimum value 25% percentile, 58th percentile value, 75th percentile. Means 75th percentile means the values are more than 46 are greater than 75%, and maximum value is also considered shown here. So this is the data gathering phase, and below is a statistical overview of the data set. So coming back to the presentation. So this was the data gathering phase. Next is the data cleaning phase. Data cleaning phase involves the removal of missing values or inconsistent values, basically making the data more complete and more valid. So it involves removing incomplete data and removing invalid data. Incomplete data means the data which is not properly embedded in data. Means if the stock price is zero, it has no meaning. Or if in certain cases the stock prices are indicated by a dash which has no meaning. So removing this removing these values is a very important thing. So second is removing invalid data. Invalid data means removing outliers or any inconsistent data. Outliers means the value which deviates a lot from the standard values. So removing it becomes an important task to improve the model accuracy. Also removing duplicates is a task of data cleaning. Here we do not do any data cleaning because the data is cleaned before and it does not contain any missing values. So the data cleaning phase we have not done here. So we can see here in the info function that there are no missing values. So there is no need of removing missing values as there are no zero missing values. So next is the the EDA phase, exploratory data analysis phase. So in exploratory data analysis, we take in EDA there are three stages: univariate analysis, multivariate analysis, and bivariate analysis. So in univariate analysis, we take each column and study it individually and gain insights from it, and it helps us understand the data characteristics and informs the feature selection. It informs us that it basically helps us to understand more about the data. So it helps us to detect the patterns and relationship between the data, or identify outliers, or also it helps in feature engineering. Feature engineering means identifying the most important features, sorry, it is a feature selection. Identifying most important feature is a feature selection, and feature engineering means creating new features which will help us in model prediction. So here we have done ED of each individual column. So we can see here it is the open price of each stock of the Apple stock here. So in Apple stock we can see here the it is showing a seasonal variation. So in some places the graph is high, and in some places it is low. So next here similarly we have done here for higher prices also, for low prices also, and for closing prices also. So it is so this was all about the EDA. Next is the model building phase. So model building is involves training. It is the major important step which involves training the machine learning models to give accurate predictions. So here we have used three machine learning algorithms that are random forest, decision tree, and linear regression. So these are the three machine learning algorithms that we have used here. This particularly I have used these three algorithms because in the task given to me that they had clearly mentioned that use only supervised machine learning algorithms. So in this task, I have used this three supervised learning algorithms such as linear regression, decision tree, and random forest. So linear regression is the red points that are the data points, and the line which passes through it is called the linear regression line. So it predicts the linear regression according to the slope. We must have all must have sometimes in their life they must have come across the equation y is equal to mx plus c. So same is the equation of the linear regression. Y is equal to mx plus c, where m is the slope of the line, c is the y intercept, and y is the dependent variable which have to predict. And second is the decision tree. So this is an example of decision tree that is the person fit or not. So accordingly, based on given conditions, it categorizes the data into the fit percent value or not fit value. And a random forest is basically optimized decision tree, and it is a technique of ensemble learning model. Ensemble learning means combining various models to make a more powerful model. So a random forest is a collection of many decision tree coming together, and the main purpose of random forest is to improve the accuracy of the model. So coming back to the code, we have first step of model building is to split the data into training data and the testing data. Training data is used to train the model, and testing data is used to test the model based on the and based on that testing data, it will help us to predict the outcomes. So here the dependent variable and a dependent variable, or the variable we have to predict, we have chosen here is close, means the closing value of the stock prices at the end of the day. So we can take any column, but we have particularly used the closed column we have considered here printed here the last 5 rows of the data set or of the particularly closed column using the tail function. And what we have done is we have used the dependent variable as the future 100 days to predict the stock prices. So we have shifted the current prices into by 100 days back, so that we can predict the stock prices accordingly. So we have done here by using the shift function, and we have taken 100 days as the value. So next we have consider here the we have first when splitting the data into X and Y. So we have already done the Y part, then that is the testing part. Now X is the training part, which are the remaining columns. So these are the remaining values which we consider as the independent variable. Then we train the model. So by training the model, we first split into training and testing model, then import the necessary libraries, then fit the data into the model, that is training data and testing data. Then we predict the future outcomes based on the testing data. So these are the predicted values for the decision tree, and these are the predicted values for the linear regression. So based on the predictions, we get this as a graph. So the red value shows us the valid predictions, which mean the tested predictions. The green value shows us the predictions which the model has predicted, and the blue line shows the original predictions which was in the data. So also we have used here random forest. So considering the accuracy of the 3 models, we get as so random forest performs better than the linear regression and decision tree with the accuracy of more than 50%. So for increasing the accuracy, we have also considered gradient boosting algorithm, which considers which considers many output of the random forest and assigns the particular new value from that the majority of the value. So the most accuracy that I have got in the supervised learning algorithm is by using the gradient boosting algorithm is 63%. So this is the final graph of the predictions, which shows the plot of each machine learning algorithm. So we can see here linear regression predicts a lot of disturbance, means it is not as the accuracy is very low, the model is not reliable. So so we can see here the red is for linear regression, and it shows a lot of variance from the original value. Whereas we can see here the green value is kind of proper along with the graph, which shows us the random forest has performed well on this data. Similarly is the decision tree, which has performed likewise as the random forest, and blue is the original. So this was the whole code. So coming back to the presentation. So what is the future of stock market forecasting? So machine learning is rapidly changing the way we approach the stock market forecasting and investment data decisions. So machine learning can be a great tool for predicting the stock prices. And as the technology continues to advance, we can expect more advancement in the field of machine learning, and the accuracy of the accuracy of the models can also be increased by using other machine learning algorithms, such as the time series and analysis, such as ARIMA model and SERIMA model, can be used here to improve the accuracy of the model. Also, the long short-term memory model will be also very useful machine learning model here. So these are the models which we can consider in the future stages. So conclusion, machine learning has a potential to revolutionize stock market forecasting and transform the financial industry. So by leveraging the power of data and algorithm, we can make more informed investment decisions and better manage risk decisions. And we can improve the predictions by using more machine learning models and making more advancements in the field of machine learning. So it is a very useful tool for us to predict the stock prices better than traditional methods such as fundamental analysis and technical analysis. It gives us better results. So these are the list of references that I've taken some information from. I've taken this data set from the Kaggle, which gives us stock data of previous 5 years. So if you have any questions, please feel to ask here at my email ID. So thank you, ma'am. This was all about my presentation. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to present presentation on this topic. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so are you done with your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so initially when you were giving introduction of machine learning, you talked about 3 types of machine learning. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. Yeah.
Okay, so there is a 4th type as well. Do you have any idea about it?
4th type.
It's
No, ma'am.
semi-supervised. Yeah, okay. You can learn about it. It's semi-supervised. So these 2 come in under machine learning. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. And one more place I saw you were talking about feature engineering, where you told
Yes.
that feature engineering is predicting basically, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Feature
And
engineering means uh, for a prediction of the machine learning algorithms, we can add a new column which will help us to predict the machine learning algorithms, and which can help us to improve the accuracy of the model. Here I have not used any feature engineering techniques, but there is a scope to where we can use that. In this data set, we can see that here in this date column, we can also add a different columns such as year column, day column, week column, etc., which will help us to more explore the data, and which will help us to improve accuracy of the model as well.
okay, that's fine. But I saw you taking the 2 terms different, like feature engineering, and you were saying feature selection as well.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so what is feature selection?
Feature selection means uh, for a machine learning algorithm, what are the most important features required to predict the dependent variable? So the most important features from the whole data set are the features which which we can better predict the model. So rest of the features are not that important compared to those features. So feature selection is taking the most important features, and from that features we can predict the model individually. And feature engineering, on the other hand, is creating new features. Feature selection is selecting features, and feature engineering is creating new features according to our need.
Actually, according to me, I think you can read more about it. Under feature engineering, feature selection,
Okay.
feature creation, and feature selection comes. And then you have the choice that how you have to operate your data set. Like you have variety of options, whether you go for feature selection. Feature selection, basically you will go you will change the original values, and you will go through PC or LDA. And in
Right,
feature,
right.
it's under feature extraction. In feature selection, you simply pick up a subset that you talked about feature, all the details that you
Yeah.
talked about feature selection. That's quite fine. So this was just keep more analyzed on it. Okay, that is the
Okay.
thing. Yeah, and in the initial slides, I saw your content was in paragraph. Instead of writing a paragraph, just keep points. So that will be more
Right.
helpful. Okay.
Okay.
So this is all from my side, and I will provide you response and feedback on your event. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, okay. So you can give. Next we have Aayush. You can start your presentation.
Okay, ma'am. Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. My name is Aayush Saini, and I'm from AWS DevOps Groups. Today, I'm going to discuss about the NGINX and how to configure NGINX using AWS EC2 service. So these are the table of contents. First, we are going to know the introduction of NGINX. We will discuss about the proxy configurations, then the types of proxy, and load balancing by NGINX, then security, then we will see the demonstration, and finally, we will see the conclusion. So now let's discuss about what is NGINX. So first we can take a situation to understand the need of NGINX. Now let's suppose on one hand we have multiple users, and on the other hand we have some servers. Now what is happening here? Users are sending requests to the servers, and server is serving these requests sent by the user. So the process is smooth, but this is not the best practice to let the user directly interact with the servers. Like user can damage the server, and like in the form of request, it can send something space or something spams or something suspicious, which can harm my server and also harm my data as well. So what I can do, I can make an intermediate layer between user and the server, which can act as a gateway or a firewall to protect my server from the attacks. So here that is the need of Nginx. Here Nginx comes into the light, and Nginx will work between user and server as a firewall, or we can say as a API gateway. So now user will send the request to the server, but its request is not directly going to reach the servers. First, it will reach to the Nginx, and now Nginx will route this request to the respective server. So this is what Nginx basically do. Now we are going to know about the proxy. So what is the concept of proxy? To understand proxy, we can take example of a class of students. Let's suppose there are two students, Ram and Sham, but Sham is absent today. So what Ram is doing? Ram is taking when the class teacher is taking the attendance, Ram is giving the attendance of Sham instead of his place. So what Ram did here, Ram acted as a prox of Sham. So that is what we can say the process of proxy. Like we like we can say that Sham was not present at that time, but Ram, who was in the class, Ram who was in the class acted as Sham. So in technical terms, we can say that proxy is something. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, okay, ma'am. So in technical terms, we can say that proxy is something like when we put a piece of hardware or software uh, between user and the server, that is acting for server, that is acting as client, and for client that is acting as server, that is known as prox. So basically NGINX provide two types of proxies, forward proxy and reverse proxy. So in forward proxy, what happens? In forward proxy, the identity of client is hidden from the server. As an example, we can see that there are multiple websites in India that are blocked. A normal user cannot use it, but still with the help of VPN, virtual private network, we use them. So what VPN does here, VPN hides the identity of user from the server. Like, it suppose I'm an Indian user and I'm blocked for a particular website from a server. So VPN, what VPN is doing, VPN is hiding my identity, or it is changing my identity. Now the server does not know from which country I belong to, or VPN has automatically changed the name of my name of my country. So now I can access that blocked website with the help of VPN, which was directly inaccessible to me. So what is happening here? Here the forward proxy is working. So now talking about the reverse proxy, what happens in reverse proxy? In reverse proxy, the resources are a private network, or we can say that the resources or servers are hidden from the user. To understand them, we can take an example of Amazon.com. So let's suppose, let's think about the servers that Amazon has. As Amazon shows to a normal user Amazon.com, so it shows that there is a single server that is handling all the traffic and load single-handedly, but practically it is not possible. Like in Amazon.com, if we are using Amazon's website, there are multiple services like adding product to cart, making payment, or logging in, authentication. So it is not possible for a single server to manage all these services single-handedly. But to reduce complexity, what Amazon is doing, it is hiding these servers from these multiple servers from users and showing only one single server, that is Amazon.com. So that is what happens in reverse proxy. So now let's talk about load balancing. Nginx also works as a load balancer between user and the servers. So what load balancing is? In load balancing, let's suppose there are 3 servers and each server is capable to handle 500 requests, and there are multiple users, they are sending requests continuously to the servers. Now let's suppose there are 1500 requests that are coming to the servers. Now if there is no load balancer, it is also possible that all the requests are going to a single server, but for a single server it is not possible to serve all the requests at that time, and it will also damage the health of that server. So what will happen if we put something between these requests, we put something in the way of these requests before reaching to the server, which can distribute these loads between the servers, this, between the servers. So in, if we are using AWS EC2, it provides a feature of load balancing itself, but in when we are using Nginx, now Nginx will do the work of load balancer. What Nginx will do, Nginx will receive all the requests, and then it will route all the requests to the respective server. Like if we are taking the example of Amazon, a user is trying to add a product into the cart, what Nginx will do, it will route that request to the server which is responsible to manage cart. If a user is trying to log in, now the Nginx will reroute the request to the server which is responsible for authentication. So this is what happens in load balancing, which is done with the help of Nginx. Now caching server is also a feature that Nginx provide. What caching, so first we need to know what caching is. So caching is a process of storing frequently accessed data to the temporary memory. So what Nginx is doing here, let's suppose there are multiple users who are trying to access the same image from the servers continuously. So what Nginx can do, it can cache that image in its memory, and when the request comes to access that image, it will not reroute to this request to the servers. Instead, it will automatically serve that request by itself. So that is called static caching server, and it can also act as HTTP caching server. Now we are going to know about the deployment of Nginx. We will use AWS EC2 service. So EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. It is a computation service that is provided by Amazon. Amazon is one of the leading cloud service providers these days. EC2 service is basically used to provide computation power, it provides us virtual instances or virtual server. A user can create as many servers as he needs according to the required. User can configure its instances. Like these instances give us OS level control, so a user can configure it according to its need. User can choose the operating system according to his need, and also configure the storage of that instance. We are going to look at this thing at AWS EC2 in the demonstration part in detail. Now the security, Nginx security best practices. Now the security of Nginx is also essential if we are using essential between user and the server. So to secure Nginx, what we can do, the simple practice is we can keep Nginx up to date, and we can keep Nginx up to date. And to provide security through Nginx, we can use SSL and TLS certificates. So what SSL is? SSL is basically secure circuit layer, and TLS stands for transport layer security. So if we are where we can see these things, if we are accessing a website, at the left hand upper corner we can see a log, we can see the sign of log, and if we click on that, that shows TLS and SSL and TLS certificates. So they, in AWS there is a particular service certificate manager which helps us getting these certificates to provide a particular security to our website. Now we are going to look at the demonstration part. Is my screen visible, ma'am?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, ma'am. So I have already logged into AWS Management Console. Here, what I have did, I can do that again. I have to search in the search bar EC2. Now I will click on EC2. Now I have to create an instance on which I will configure my Nginx. So now I will go to instances. Here I will click on launch instance. Now I'm giving my instance a name. I have named it Nginx 11. Here I have to choose an operating system. I'm choosing Ubuntu. These are the basic configurations that are provided to me as I'm using free tier account. Now I have to create a key pair. We can give any name to the key pair. It is not necessary to keep the same name as the instance name. Now I have to download the file, which will help me to log in into that instance when it will be created. Now SSH is allowed as I'm going to use HTTP request. I'm going to send HTTP request to my server, to my instance or server. I have to allow these also. We can keep remaining as same. Now we will click on launch instance. Now our instance is launched, but now we have to wait till when it will pass all the status checks, and the state will be shown here as running. We need to keep refreshing it. If we click here, we can see the details of an instance. Here, a public IP will be visible, a private IP will be visible, and there are many more details which we can use according to our need. But right now we need just IP address. First, we have to wait for this instance. Like now it's running. So what we can do now, we can go to PuTTY. Here I have to give my IP address of my instance. Now we will go to SSH. In SSH, we will go to authentication, and in authentication to credentials. Now we will browse that file that we have downloaded. Here it is, Nginx 11. We will open it. Now we will click open. Now accept. and now it is asking login as. So we have created an Ubuntu instance. By default, its name is Ubuntu. Just a second. I think I'm giving the wrong name. Now it is working. Actually, in the previous attempt, I made a mistake in the spelling. Now our Ubuntu instance is running, but now what we have to do, we have to install Nginx in it. So what is the first step of that? First, we need to check like who logged in into that instance. If I press W and enter, it is showing something. It is showing the IP address. So let's first see whose IP address is this. So if I check what is my IP, so that is my IP. That is also shown here. So as we can see, it is the same IP address. It means I have logged in into that instance. As you can see, it is the same IP address. So what I'm doing now I will install Nginx. So first we have to update our Ubuntu software. So first we have to update our Ubuntu server. First I have to be the root user. Now I have the permission of root user. Now I'm allowed to install or uninstall anything. So now I will use apt update. So what apt in it? Apt is basically a package manager which helps us to install or uninstall any package. Like now I will install Nginx with the help of apt. So now our Ubuntu is updated. Now we will do the installation of Nginx. So the installation is started. Now it is asking for yes or no. I will continue. So now our Nginx is installed. So now let's check if it is actively running or not. So for that, the command is systemctl status Nginx. So now as we can see, it is showing actively running. It means our Nginx is installed and it is running fine. So let's check if it is showing, if it is visible, if we put that IP address. As it is showing, if I'm using my IP address of that instance, it is showing welcome to Nginx. It means our instance and our Nginx is running fine. So that is the part of demonstration. Like I have installed Nginx in it. Now if I'm familiar with the more commands, like if with the help of vi editor we can make files which will be visible to this Nginx server. If you want, ma'am, I can do that. Otherwise my demonstration is complete here.
Okay, as you, if it's possible to show, then you can go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. So this is the file, like that content which was visible here, like it is showing welcome to NGINX. It is written inside this file. So what I'm doing now, I'm removing this file. If I'm doing ls, now there is no file called index.html. Now what I will do, I will create a file vi index.html. So with the help of vi editor, now I'm inside this file. Here I can write the code of anything, like I can create an HTML file here as well, which will be visible there. So to save time, I'm going to copy some content of HTML. Now I have modified this file. Now the command to come out of this file with saving the content, I will use colon wq and then press enter. Now the file is created. Now if I refresh this page, let's see what happens. So it is showing our NGINX web server is working fine. That is what I have written in that file. So now let's stop the session. So now we have seen the demonstration as well. Now we have learned about what is NGINX, what are the proxy, what are the types of proxy that NGINX provide, how to configure NGINX using AWS EC2. So now if anyone has any question, please feel free to ask. These are the references that I use to make this presentation. Thank you. I'm done with my presentation, ma'am.
Okay, so according to me, your presentation was quite fine, and the flow you maintained in connecting each and every point, that was quite good. Okay, can you tell me that Nginx is written in which language?
Am I audible, ma'am? Actually, ma'am, right now I'm unable to recall in which language NGINX is written.
Okay, it is written in C language. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
that's okay. Other than that, it's quite fine. So from your side, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, I have one question, like how many marks of mine are going to be deducted? Like I didn't answer that question.
Actually, and don't worry about it. Just focus on exploring the more and learn more from what you're working on it.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome. For now, we have no more interns. Let me wait for 2 or 3 minutes more. If someone joins, then we will continue with our presentation session. Otherwise, we will wrap up our session. Okay, so we don't have any more interns, so we wrap up our session. Thank you so much, everyone.